Tonight, one of those little things, but welcome to our weekly online Satsang. For the next 10 minutes or approximately, we invite you to relax, close your eyes, rest in the presence as the music plays, and hold space.
Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Suklam Bharadram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye Sarvavignyopashankam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Om
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Got started a little late because of some internet troubles, but here we are. Glad you're with us. These times together are important because we strengthen one another, and our grace and our interior silence is multiplied when we join together. It's important that we all continue to transform as gracefully but as swiftly as possible, so that the ripples go out and affect the collective consciousness of humanity, and one day we all shift from a collective insanity of competition, conflict, and violence to a new world of cooperation, harmony, and peace. This will never come through philosophy, religion, political movements, but through the flowering of the human heart, through awakening to our oneness with the divine, with each other, and with all that is. So thank you for consenting to that journey. We're soaking tonight in the flowering heart blessing. It's a transmission, direct transmission of divine presence, grace, love, awakened consciousness. A gift from Source that catalyzes in us the process of awakening. If we've already begun, it hastens the process and melts barriers. If we're already awakened, it takes us deeper and deeper, because awakening just continues to expand and expand. There's no end to it. It's not a destination. It's an eternal journey. So glad to be with you tonight on this journey. If you're watching with us live, wonderful. If you're watching the recording a day later or a year later, please give us, if you're on Facebook Live, a heart or a thumbs up, a love or a like. If you're on Vimeo, just write in the chat your name and say hi. I go in and look throughout the week from one Monday to the next, and sometimes weeks on, to see who dropped in and to send you extra hugs and blessings. So we really appreciate it when you do that. This coming weekend, well, this is Monday. Yesterday we had our monthly interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ. The subject matter was sacred touch, the laying on of hands, and I think it had some unexpected outpourings of insight and grace that make it one of the most powerful interfaith communions I remember having.
That's amazing.
It's phenomenal.
It's worth watching if you didn't catch it yesterday.
I mean, I was astonished.
Stuff came through that he hadn't even planned.
No, a lot of things. It was just like pouring through. So encourage you, if you didn't see it, to do that and to take in the teaching on sacred touch. It gives an insight into the whole plan of the divine since the creation of the physical universe, to infuse everything more and more with divine consciousness and presence. And I think it comes through pretty clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And especially that the purpose of that in creating humanity, which is the union of divine consciousness and being with animal bodies. And it's something that really helps to understand. This coming weekend, February 1st and 2nd, Saturday and Sunday, we are offering the first in-house retreat that we have done in a year and a half. The Diamond Heart Liberation Process or Retreat. And we've done it 3 times before, but not for a year and a half. There's always new material, just like yesterday with what we didn't plan. We bring together all the most important pieces of the spiritual process that Suzanne and I have been through through our lives. And we pour it out in a very concise, precise way over 2 days. And that's why we don't do it online. We did one online and it was great. But it was a half-day process, a condensed version with the Flowering Heart Center in Illinois. And some of those people said they thought it was like
amazing,
just phenomenal. So the 2-day process in person, we can do some things with you that require hands-on, you right here, eyeball to eyeball and hands-on. And so if you can come, please do. All the information is on our website at floweringheart.org, floweringheart.org. And I know you won't be sorry if you can come. So we'd love to have you. Don't know when we'll do another one. We didn't know when we did the last one. It's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's really time. And we all need the grace and the transmission that's going to be pouring through that workshop. So we're looking very much forward to it. We like to open it to questions and answers at this point, and I see some questions pouring in.
Yay.
I'm still going to read some quotes. So if you have more questions or you look inside and Spirit gives you something you might ask for additional insight and clarity about the spiritual journey, your journey, it helps everyone. To give people time to think about that, I like to read these little articles and lists of quotes from inspiringquotes.com. And tonight, not surprisingly, I was drawn to a little article and a list of quotes from Joyce Chen. She's become one of our favorites. Joyce Chen is a writer, editor, and community builder based in Seattle, Washington. And we thank you for this, Joyce. The subject of this little article and is 16 quotes on finding the humor in life. And here's what Joyce says. Life's riches lie in relationships, discoveries, and small joys. It can be easy to forget this amidst the uncertainties and hardships of day-to-day living. But if we make an effort to always look for the lighter side of things, we can find moments of levity on even the worst days. As cliche as it may sound, laughter truly is the best medicine in many cases. When it feels like frustration is the only rational response, taking a step back and seeing the humor in a situation can release the tension of the moment, freeing us up to address the issues from a different angle. As writer and philosopher Elbert Hubbard famously said, "Do not take life too seriously. You will never get out of it alive." Indeed, wisdom delivered with levity can be just the sort of unexpected respite we need from the seriousness that life often demands. These 16 quotes are meant to help you find the fun and playfulness in the everyday and serve as reminders that it really does pay to approach life with joy. So here we go. Humor is the great thing, the saving thing after all. The minute it crops up, all our hardnesses yield. All our irritations and resentments flit away, and a sunny spirit takes their place. Mark Twain, one of my favorites. There's power in looking silly and not caring that you do.
I like that one.
Amy Poehler. It must be around 40 when you're, quote, over the hill. I don't even know what that means and why it's a bad thing. When I go hiking and I get over the hill, that means I'm past the hard part and there's a snack in my future. That's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Helen DeGeneres. Don't take life too seriously and have fun. Don't waste your time on things that your ego will try and convince you are important. RuPaul. Most of the shadows of this life are caused by standing in one's own sunshine. Ralph Waldo Emerson. That's good. Man suffers only because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun. Alan Watts. A good laugh overcomes more difficulties and dissipates more dark clouds than any other one thing. Laura Ingalls Wilder. As you proceed through life, following your own path, birds will shit on you. Don't bother to brush it off. Getting a comedic view of your situation gives you spiritual distance. Having a sense of humor saves you. Joseph Campbell. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Mae West. Life is far too important a thing ever to talk seriously about. Oscar Wilde. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. George Bernard Shaw. Taking crazy things seriously is a serious waste of time. Haruki Murakami. Mix a little foolishness with your prudence. It's good to be silly at the right moment. Horace. I don't think you should ever take life so serious that you forget to play. Taylor Swift. It's your outlook on life that counts. If you take yourself lightly and don't take yourself too seriously, pretty soon you can find humor in our everyday lives, and sometimes it can be a lifesaver. Betty White. Life goes by fast. Enjoy it, calm down, it's all funny. Joan Rivers. Those are great.
Those are great.
I used to say, you know, if you think God doesn't have a sense of humor, look in the mirror and have yourself a good laugh. So true. We don't quit playing because we grow old because we quit playing.
Right. Makes me think we just celebrated our 96 now year old friend. And he's had a really intense couple of years with hurricanes and flooding and fires and all this stuff going on.
Losing everything.
Everything.
His house.
But I got a new phone right when the hurricanes were happening, and Helene, and he left me a voicemail, and I kept it on my voicemail inbox because it's so funny. I mean, here he is, 95. He's getting flooded up to 4 feet up to his chest, and he leaves a message saying, "Well, you know, Suzanne, I really appreciate your efforts in trying to help me seal up the house, but I don't think we did quite enough. I'm standing here, my arms on my bed that's floating." He's like, my private parts are all wet, but my shoulders are dry, you know. And he goes on, he's like, "I was just laying on the bed. I don't even think I was asleep. I was just laying there thinking about something, and then I started floating." I mean, and on it goes. It's about a, 8-minute message. And when I listened to it, it was a couple days afterwards. I actually talked to him that night because somebody else called me and told me what was going on. But when I actually listened to that voicemail, I was like, how amazing is that? 95, I mean, his whole life is being flooded out. He's watching the waters rise, and he's calling me and just being so light about it. I mean, what are you going to do? But, you know, and he's made it that long. I learned so much from him every time I spend time with him about keeping things positive and his amount of gratitude and kindness towards others. And he's definitely a role model. But yeah, I mean, if you can keep a sense of humor in a situation like that, that's pretty amazing. Very amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Talk about keeping a sense of humor in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's an inspiration to all of us.
Definitely. We toasted him last night at his birthday party, and I said, here's to living to 120. And he said, "Well, let's check out 100 first, and then we'll decide." Oh, he's just so witty. And I think his sense of humor is a big part of that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So questions.
So Tristan writes, my first question is, have you met people who claim to be enlightened and are not?
I almost think that if you're claiming to be enlightened, that
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 was-
already is a disclaimer.
That's right. Have you met people who didn't know that they were awakened, enlightened? Yes.
Yes.
Look, Lao
Like
Tzu,
Stan.
the father, the founder of Taoism, said, those who know don't speak, and those who speak don't know. Basically, the Bible, the Hebrew scriptures say, let somebody else toot your horn, not yourself. Yeah, anybody that stands up and goes, I'm enlightened, I mean, even the Buddha didn't say that. He just said, I'm Buddha. He said, who are you?
Buddha.
Buddha. What are you? Buddha. What's that? Buddha. And Buddha means, Bodhi means awake. Who are you awake? What are you awake? So, but yes, there are people that don't know they're awakened or enlightened because they don't have concepts.
Right.
I mean, the mind does not become enlightened. The mind, poor mind. I mean, I'm grateful to have a mind and one that works well, and I use it, but the poor mind wants to get enlightened because it would feel significant. Oh, how grand I would feel, and how people would think I was so significant, you know, if I. Sometimes it might be important to know that you're awakened, and if it is, your teacher, your master, or people around you may give you that reflection. But again, awakening is not a destination.
Right.
So one of the most eloquent writers on why we don't use the term enlightenment much anymore is Ken Wilber, who is one of the most eloquent philosophers on the subject of spirituality and enlightenment in our time. His philosophy, he's a philosopher, and his stuff has been translated into more languages than any other living philosopher. And he says, you know, we don't use that word much anymore, because what is it? Well, we might all agree Buddha was the embodiment, and he was enlightened, but that was then. And enlightenment is more than just a state of consciousness. It's being on the crest of the wave of all that is. And all that is continues to change and grow and shift. We've met people in very high states of consciousness that have no morality whatsoever. They have no sexual morality. We've met people who claim to be enlightened, and people call them enlightened, who have no ethics, who lack a sense of aesthetics and ethics and morality. And so Ken Wilber said there's a lot more to being awake than just being in a state of oneness. Because evidently, and we've seen examples, people can be in a state of oneness and still do the most unethical, crazy things. Some very enlightened masters have been addicted to materialism and just amassed gajillions of dollars while people don't have homing, anywhere to live. Others have been very immoral with their disciples sexually. Others have been very controlling and domineering and been like cult leaders and controlled people's lives. These are problem areas in the first three chakras, the first three levels of instinctual development. And yet, they're in these magnificent states of consciousness that could talk to you about the universe and maybe tell you about your life, things they never should have known about you. So enlightenment is much more than maybe the way we've classically understood. And
For me, it's never really been too important what state of consciousness I am. Am I awakened? Am I not? Am I enlightened? Am I not? At the end of the day, I just want to know that I've been the best human being and most actualized human being that I could have been today. And tomorrow, if I see things in areas that I could, work on or do better or grow in grace or deepen in in union with the divine presence, then that's my work for the day. Like Michael said, all of those concepts are of the mind, and when we slip into our heart, those things don't really matter anymore. It just matters about actualizing our full human potential, and that comes from the heart, not from the mind or the ego.
Amen. And so we use the word awake a lot more these days. And what does it mean to be awake? Generally what we're talking about is that someone has not just had an experience. I mean, there are states of consciousness and they're all temporary. And then there are stages of evolution that are just permanent. Some people are permanently aware that they are not an ego. They're permanently aware that they're not just a mind and a body. They're permanently aware that they are spiritual consciousness that is somehow connected and one with everyone and with the source and with all that is. And there are dramatically different, expansive degrees of being awake, but it's usually very profound when someone wakes up and has this experience where I'm not a mind with a body. I'm more than that. And it's not just a peekaboo, it's like a breakthrough of I'm experiencing myself as something more than a mind and a body that's actually connected with all that is. And that continues to grow. There are levels in Zen, there's like 4 levels of Kensho. Kensho means basically awakening. But they recognize there are all these different levels of awakening.
But even to dive into those different levels, it's still putting a concept and a goal for something that can't really be obtained by our own efforts.
Which gets in the way of ever experiencing it.
Right.
But the recognition that awakening is not just a static state of consciousness. It's a breakthrough, and humanity needs to awaken beyond the veil of separation, individuality, and separate existence. That's why we're in conflict with each other, because we're not experiencing deeply enough that we are each other, that we're one with each other.
Well, and even those awakenings can be static because we're still growing and we still have charges and we still have things that come up. We may feel hurt, or we may feel critical, or we may feel, that we are separate.
You mean awakened people aren't perfect?
Everybody is still learning and still growing, and the more that we continue working on ourselves, the more we can show up and be there for others and ourselves in a way that is in oneness and in harmony with everything.
I mean, a lot of people look to someone like Eckhart Tolle as an awakened, if not enlightened being. But I've never heard him say, I'm enlightened. Now, if you asked him if he was awake, he'd probably say, sure, I'm awake. And could talk a lot anyway. So the second question from Tristan is, some people experience phenomena like the Merkaba, the blue pearl, known to be vehicles of God. Why are they different from each other but the same? Well, people experience the God's eye, the Bindu point, the source, in different ways. And any way you experience it, it's something that's presenting itself to the mind on some level. And so some people, when they begin to be drawn into the source, see it as a blue pearl. Some people see it as a white light with rainbow colors. Some people see it in different ways. It is the same thing, but we're all different. Maybe it's because of the what's been sown into our consciousness through our lives, the images and the ideas that the divine will use those images that are...
Give us a reference point.
Yeah. But whatever we see, whatever we feel, that's not the divine. That's just a representation presenting itself And it's important. I mean, I'm not meaning to minimize it. If you see the blue pearl and you merge with it, or you experience these different vehicles of the divine, wonderful. But it's not a big deal over, should it be golden? Should it be white? Should it be blue? Should it be a diamond? Should it be a lightning bolt? You know, these are all ways that the divine can manifest, but the divine is beyond all of these phenomena and manifestations. So we keep letting go of the forms, letting go of the images, and just from our hearts diving deeper and deeper into something that cannot be fully grasped or seen. Okay? Star Burnside, namaste yourself. Oh, that's so wonderful. Hello there. Oh, yes, remember you with love, and certainly your brother. Yekaterina Kiev. I love, as an actress, drama. Everything's funny tonight, isn't it? I'm just going to stop there and just laugh for a while. Come on. I love, as an actress, drama. But I'm very good at comedy. And I've done more comedy than drama, and I love to make people laugh. I feel that the spark of God inside me touches them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. It's nice when the two can work together,
Right.
which does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
More and more, in film today, we're seeing these things they call dramatic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's too dramatic for me. I mean, there's all this bloodshed and horror going on and broken hearts.
Wait, where's the comedy?
Well, and yet they manage to make jokes to it. But yeah, I mean, I understand. There's a place for both. I mean, life is pretty dramatic. Mm-hmm. But if you can bring that spark of joy and humor that helps people get a little distance from it and just detach and laugh, it's the saving grace, which doesn't make light of the suffering and the dark side and the issues we deal
But like
with.
our friend when he was being flooded out, you know, to be able to shed some comedy on this ridiculously horrible situation was inspiring.
And then Star writes, I believe you're the people who came to pray over my brother. Yes. Oh, yes.
And he is constantly in our thoughts
He-
and prayers.
He is dear to
Yes,
us.
yes.
And he went through many processes here and book club meetings with us here at Flowering Heart Center.
Qigong.
And studied Qigong with me, and
Yeah.
was very good at Tai Chi Chuan. And
Yeah.
I loved James for years.
Yeah,
and
still do.
still love him.
He pops in and
Miss him, but
Yeah.
as Michael Franti says, I can feel you
even after you're gone,
even after you're gone. I can feel
I
you.
can still feel you.
I can still feel you. And yes,
He is still in our hearts and consciousness frequently.
it was a beautiful moment. And I'm sure somewhere, somehow, James is feeling this moment and you
Yes.
connecting with us. And
Yes.
I'm delighted. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we never die. We are spirits. Spirit transcends time. Spirit has no beginning and no end. And James is a bright spirit.
Yes.
Everything changes, but spirit endures forever. So, much love, Star.
Yes. Thanks for popping in and saying hi.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
I think it's time to move on.
I think it is, but let me just make sure we didn't miss anything over here. Nope, we're
Okay.
good. Getting new, just to make sure. I was thinking of hitting something we just don't really have time to do tonight. It's touching on veganism and vegetarianism and
yeah.
how that relates to the spiritual journey and why Suzanne and I are vegans. it's not because, I'll just say in a brush, it's very healthy to be a vegetarian. And it's even healthier to be a vegan. But it's not necessary to do that to be awakened. And I pointed very quickly to the Tibetan enlightened masters that live high in the Himalayas eat yak. There aren't any vegetables up there. They eat these animals. And in Turkey, I know enlightened Sufi masters eat lamb. Some of them even smoke tobacco. Christ ate fish with his disciples. Even after he rose from the dead in this spirit body, they thought he was just a ghost. And he said, "You got anything to eat?" And they brought out a fish and a piece of honeycomb, and he ate it right in front of them and said, "See, I'm not a ghost." So I think vegetarianism is wonderful. You probably have a higher vibration, and with veganism even more a bit, and you might live longer and be healthier, for sure. That's why we do it. But that said, very strongly in the Christian tradition, to preach vegetarianism as a mandatory religious doctrine was not okay, and demonstrated by the master himself.
One of the things I've really been meditating on the last couple of years is everybody's got to be the way they've got to be in the world today. And so, live and let live, and people will find what's right for them in their own time, and however that balances out. So,
Star wrote, "I believe it matters how you respect and love the gift of foods, and vegetables have energy also."
exactly.
Yeah, this very awakened monk in India, somebody said, "Do I have to be a vegan to be awakened?" And he said, "Well, nope." And doesn't it create bad karma eating? He said, "Well, then you're creating even worse karma eating plants, because they're in a higher state of consciousness than animals, because they're collective beings. Plants are this very high collective state of consciousness." Now, the guy who said that was a lifelong vegetarian. So he believed in doing that, but removed that stigma. It's like, no, you need to look at it differently.
I'm all for removing as many stigmas as we can, because at the end of the day, we hear, this food's a superfood, or this food, you should eat this, or you should have this, or you shouldn't have that. And then 5 years later, they're like, "Oh, no, we were wrong. That food is bad. You should eat this food."
But we eat very healthy food, and we're vegan.
That's not the point I was trying to
know.
make. The point I was trying to make is that whatever experts are telling us, or whatever lobbyists are telling us to sell their product, or to sell their food, or their livestock, or whatever information is coming in, I always like to weigh inside and connect with the divine. And that's how I eat. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll say, body, what would serve you the best? What would you like to eat today? And I come up with some outrageous things. And it's like, Michael will say, "Well, what do you want to eat today?" And I'll be like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." And he's like, "Wow, where'd you come up with that?" I'm like, "I don't know. My body just wants whatever those ingredients are in that food." So I've gotten more conscious of not eating out of because my mind or my emotions want it, but more checking in with what my body needs.
There's just a note, your body hasn't wanted meat in 37 years.
That's true.
Her body's very smart. If I was alone in the wilderness and I had a choice between eating berries and roots, even tree bark and mushrooms, I would choose that over shedding the blood of an animal if I could. I like animals and I want to be kind to them. Okay, so there's that too. All right, let's close our eyes. Star said, exactly. So close your eyes and invoke the divine presence who loves you, so much, more than we can comprehend. The divine is unconditional love, which is something we're just beginning to learn about, aren't we? This divine presence who dwells within you in all of its fullness is all-loving. Religion has given it a bad rap, making us feel that there's a separation between us and the divine. No, no, no. The divine lives in us, and we live inside the divine presence. There cannot be any separation. And the divine is the one being in the universe, this presence, who can love unconditionally, knowing everything about us, past, present, and future. So just open yourself and begin to receive and drink in the flowering heart blessing of the divine that is pouring out within you, pouring out upon you, pouring out to you from every direction, inside and out. This presence yearns to free you from the illusion of separation and division, which is the root of all our suffering. Just let go, and the divine will draw you into its embrace, into oneness at the center. As you connect, it begins to shine out of your heart into your mind and your emotions, clearing your soul of wrong thinking, painful and negative emotions and programming, washing your soul, replacing that with divinely inspired thoughts and feelings and plans. It shines out into your physical body to heal your dis-eases and into your relationships to set them right. It shines through you as a lighthouse into the world to touch others, catalyze awakening, transformation. Just receive. Presence knows exactly what you need. You don't need to even ask anything. Right now, just let go and receive the blessing of the divine presence, of the source of all life, all goodness, all light, all love. It's pouring out to you. Drink it in, breathe it in, soak it up, keep receiving. More and more and more. you could open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me, or both of us if you can look at 4 eyes at the same time. Just keep gazing at least one of our eyes. That's all you need to do. There's nothing else to do during the light meditation. During this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans, grace, light, love. It's pouring through our whole being to you, especially through our eyes, the windows of the soul. As you just keep looking, connecting, receiving, the light streams out through our eyes, into your eyes, into your heart, fanning the flames of divine love, the light that awakens within you. Just receive it. Now keep meditating as long as it feels good to you. Or find a place nearby to lie down in Shavasana. That's to lie on your back comfortably with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open and turned upward. And just let yourself dissolve in the presence with gratitude. It's a lovely thing. Love you so much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you. And we bow to you.